How are you, man? Where are you exactly?
I'm from New London, Connecticut.
Oh, nice, man. Yeah,
Where where are you based out of?
I'm based in LA, and I've been here for 31 years, but I'm originally from Buffalo, New York, so I know that world very well back east.
Oh, Buffalo. Yeah, it's cold out here. You
Yeah,
remember?
cold, cold. How you guys faring right now? Is it all right? I heard you guys had 60 degrees last week.
It's bipolar. You know how Mother Nature is.
Yeah, very unpredictable, man.
We're running. It's a food shortage here, I believe. Like we're at it, like something crazy, like cream cheese.
Oh, geez, really? Cream cheese. Oh well.
Yeah,
I guess if you love cream cheese, you're sad, and if you don't love cream cheese, you don't even know there's a problem.
I'm be all right. I can't have dairy like that anyway.
Yeah, me neither, man. Me neither. Yeah, happy holidays. Do you want to jump right in, or what do you want to do? I got about 30 minutes.
Yeah,
Does that
if you
work?
want, we could jump right in.
All right, sounds good. Let's do it.
All right, man. So this is Talk with Bad Boy James. And we got a special guest in the house. You may know him as, let me get because I have a hard time pronouncing the last name. Motomia, Davis Motomia, correct?
Motomaya. Yeah. That's close enough.
Motomia,
Yeah,
Motomia. That's my
Motomaya.
that's like
You say
the
tomato, I say tomato. I mean, honestly, dude. Well, we'll talk about it more, but the amount of ways I've heard Naruto pronounced is like unbelievable. Even people that are on the show. So yeah, don't worry about those last names. But yeah, Davis from Digimon.
Davis from Digimon. Um, you got Alpha and Omega Salty. Yep.
Yep. Salty on Alpha and Omega, awesome.
And then you got you I didn't know this. So when I was doing my research, I didn't know you were a part of Living in Color. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, that takes me way back. Yeah, man, I got super lucky in the early '90s. I got cast to play opposite Jim Carrey in a skit called "Make a Death Wish," and it was loosely based on the Make a Wish Foundation. Where they grant wishes to kids with terminal illnesses. And Jim Carrey played kind of like a Charles Bronson from his whole series back in the '80s. So it's
Right.
kind of a hybrid thing. The funny thing is, though, so I was super excited. I was like, I got cast opposite Jim Carrey, and I was just like, oh yeah. And then I get to the set for my wardrobe fitting, and they put me in a frog costume, like head to toe frog costume, and no one knows it's me. And I was like, oh, wah, wah, wah. So I'm in the scene with Jim Carrey, but I'm head to toe in a frog costume, but it was a funny gig, and it was Living Color. It was at the height of In Living Color. It was at the height of Jim Carrey coming on the scene, and so it was a pretty big deal. But it was short and sweet, small scene. I was covered head to toe, so it's.
Did you meet any of the guys like the Damon Wayans,
No,
Jim?
I didn't. I mean, I saw them from afar, which was cool. But it was from afar. My scene was with Jim Carrey, so it was just get me in wardrobe, get me in the frog costume, get me on the set, and do the scene. And then it was with Jim Carrey, as I said. So I got to meet Jim Carrey, which was cool, and he was nice enough. I mean, he was, I think he was in the throes of he was socially
Awkward
nice enough and polite.
or
Yeah, he was just busy. You could tell he was just like,
yeah.
it's pretty fast moving TV, all that stuff like SNL and Living Color in the day, and that it's pretty fast moving. When they're shooting, it's like bam, bam, bam. So there wasn't a lot of time for like socialization in any way, shape, or form. But he was cool, and it's fun to say I worked with Jim Carrey for years. After that, I was
Yeah,
like,
that's a good thing to have on your belt. Like, yo, I was near
yeah,
Jim
it was
Carrey.
good. It was good bragging rights for a while.
Not definitely. And what about this JetX thing? Like with Disney, right?
Yeah. So
Like
it did all
way
the
back in the day.
yeah, way back in the day. So back in I guess probably 2002 to 2008, give or take about 6 years. I was doing all the announcing for Disney and ABC Family and JetX. And so, I was the guy that was like coming up next, and we'll be right back after these
Yeah.
messages. So, all that promo.
See, that's
stuff
my childhood right there.
I am your childhood, baby. I am your childhood. Yeah, so all that interstitial promo stuff in between the shows, that was me. I did it all. So anything in between, the Power Rangers and, whatever else was on. I mean, it was, oh my God. I mean, there was a ton of programming back in the day, but, it was all, anytime you heard coming up next, we'll be right back, or next, or, this Saturday on, that was me. And that was a sweet gig. I mean, that was amazing because I did it for about 6 years, and, it was pretty cool. So I kind of had to be available, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. And I would get the call, it's basically, all right, we need you in the studio. And so I'd race over to the Valley, and I'd knock it out for a few hours. And then, the next day I might not have nothing, anything. And then the following day I might be recording all day long, so it was a really wacky, erratic schedule. But, and so basically I got paid to be available, like just be ready for the call. It's kind of like being a doctor. I was like, baby delivery.
Did you have to work from home, or did you have to go to their studio?
No. I mean, a lot of it's from home now, obviously with COVID and stuff, and almost every voice actor's got a home studio now, and I do too. But no, back in the day, you jump in your car, and I worked at like 3 studios primarily, and they're all in the Valley. So at the time I was living in Hollywood, it was a 20-minute commute, and 15-20 minutes, and I'd race over to the studio wherever they told me to go. And sometimes I'd go to all 3 different studios that day. I'd be at 10 a.m. at the one studio, and then 12 at another studio, and then, 4 o'clock at the other studio. I mean, it was all over the place, man. And again, I got paid mostly not only to do the work, but to be available, to be ready for, the call. So, but it was cool. It was a great gig. It's super fun. And it was, it's funny too, because I remember going to visit my cousin, and she had young kids at the time, and we were in the kitchen making pancakes or whatever, and I heard my voice on the TV in the other room. We'll be right back after these messages. And I was like, oh man,
Right.
That's your cousin's voice, and the kids are like, what? Wow.
They're like, no way.
Yeah, no way. Yeah, I get a lot of no way, usually no way. But yeah, that was cool. It was really fun.
Now, what made you get into voice acting? What was it like? What made you be like, you know what, I'm not gonna go to school, I'm gonna become a voice actor? Because like with me, I was like, you know what, I ain't gonna go to school, I'm gonna become a DJ, stand-up comedian.
Yeah. I think, well, I actually did go to school.
Oh, you did? Sorry about that.
Yeah, no, it's cool. I did. I ended up going, I went to high school, and then I went to college. And, one of the reasons I think I did that is because I did, I wanted something to fall back on, because, I wasn't sure if, it was going to take off. I wasn't sure, so I had this dream that was nagging on me, but I also I have a throttle between my right and my left brain a lot, and I was just worried that I was like, all right, well, I better have something to fall back on, if things don't work out. So I actually, if you can believe it, have a business degree from a university back in Cleveland. And, and it's actually proven to be a really valuable asset, in the sense that, I never used it in the traditional way. Like I didn't, get a resume going. I mean, actually the joke is I did have a resume, and I never used it, never used it. So I never used it in a traditional way, like, oh, I have this business degree, I'm going to get into business. But what did happen was, it's called show business for a reason, and it is a business, and you essentially are a product. I mean, at the end of the day, you are a product. You got to sell yourself, and you're the product, you're the commodity. And so in that sense, I think it taught me very early on that A, it is business, and B, what am I going to do, strategically to make sure that, that I can sell myself, and that I can, that anybody would want to buy me, you know what I mean?
Right.
And so, and some of it's, you don't need a business degree for, really none of it, you need a business degree for, but what it did create was a work ethic, was going, okay, if this is a business and I have to treat it as a business, and what do you do in business? You work every day towards your craft. You work every day. And so in that way, it was really great, because I think a lot of times artists, or, people that are just, have the dream, they forget the work that it takes to realize the dream. It's easy to dream. I mean, we all have dreams. One of my favorite sayings is, what separates the genius from the couch potato? Right. We're all geniuses, but what separates the genius from the couch potato is the genius got off the couch. You know what I mean? And at some point, you got to get off the couch.
Definitely.
You can dream all you want, and you can create and visualize all you want. But yeah, you really got to do the work. And I think for me, that's when I say, like, the business degree was super invaluable for me personally, because, very early on, I treated it as a business. I was very serious about it. I worked every day towards, that dream and that goal. And that doesn't guarantee success in any way, shape, or form. I mean, I've had a lot of dreams that haven't come true, but you keep dreaming, you keep doing the work, and sometimes you hook that fish, and sometimes you don't,
Right.
But yeah, you got to do the work. You gotta. I tell most, aspiring actors or artists, that if you're not doing something for your goal, your dream, your craft, at least every day, 6 days a week, then you're not doing enough. If you're not putting in, there's another great saying too, which often is a tandem to the genius couch potato thing. It's like, Malcolm Gladwell has in his great book, it takes 10,000 hours to get really, really good.
To become a master.
Yeah, to become a master, right? And 10,000 hours, if you do the math, is 40 hours a week for 5 years. And I think that's why a lot of people, you do go to school, right? It's kind of built in, that model's built in. It's like you are doing those 40 hours a week for 4 years or 5 years or whatever. But I mean, and that's why people do go to university. That's why they go into specialized programs, because it, it forces them, makes them accountable to those 40 hours a week for 5 years. But if you have self-discipline, then you can do it yourself. But it does take that long, and some of us, I think, come to things inherently good, where like some, you see it on the football field or whatever. I mean, some kids are just naturally talented. They can throw a football, they can run, they can, but then, the average person though, if that's their dream, they got to work that much harder. They got to put those 10,000 hours in. And even the pros do. I mean, even the best of the best, you got to train, you got to put those hours in some way, shape, or form, especially if you want to become the best of, which of course I'm not, I mean, right. You guys, most of your fans, and, you guys know me from my voice work. I am not the best voiceover artist. I do very well. And I take it very seriously. But I've also been very lucky, but there's other voiceover actors that are remarkably more talented than I am. I mean, remarkably, they, and some of those names, but there's some people, they have a repertoire of, 300 voices, that they can push a button in their brain, their voice, and and they can talk to themselves, 6 different voices. They can have a group conversation with 6 different voices, and I'm not that guy, I don't voice match, I can't mimic, I mean, I can't
do impressions.
Yeah, I can't do impressions, that's not me. And so I think, you got to know what you're good at, you can train to be better, but, you also have to recognize that's not your niche, or your niche, and that's not what I do and I do well. So I'll let those guys do that. I'll concentrate on what I do really well. And then you keep your fingers crossed, because it comes down to a little bit of luck too. But also being ready for opportunity. When opportunity comes, you better be ready. You better have done those 10,000 hours.
And that's why you work. And that's why you work hard to get, when the time comes where you do have the opportunity, you're already prepared because you're working on your craft.
Yeah. That's exactly right. Because that is the difference, because almost everybody will have at least one door open to them, at some point in their journey to the dream. But oftentimes what happens is they're not ready, they haven't done the work. And that's going to backfire pretty quick. I mean, there's no there's no shortcuts, and luck does not come to them because they're not ready. And so, when I say luck, it's like, it's being prepared, it's being all those things. And yeah, a little bit of luck too, because, I can't even tell you, and every actor will tell you the same, and every stand-up, they'll all tell you the same, like
Right.
how many times they have been second place and never even know it. They just know that they didn't get the job, and every once in a while you run into like the producer and like, oh man, you were the number 2 guy, man. We wanted you so much. I fought for you or whatever. And then you're like, often you never get the privilege of hearing that information, which is also, of course, bittersweet, right? Because you're like, so close yet so far away. But usually it's like you either get the gig or you don't, and you don't know where you played, where you placed. You just know you didn't get the gig, or you did. Occasionally, a 1,000 balls later, you hit that home run and Yahoo, but you're swinging at a lot of balls until you hit that home run, without using that baseball analogy. Yeah.
So see, when you talk about like putting in the work in the 10,000 hours, it kind of reminds me of like when you play the character Rock Lee, of like how dedicated he is to working, you know what I mean? So did you channel some of that?
Yes, sensei.
Did you channel some of that into the character?
Absolutely, man. I mean, it's a great tie-in and a nice pivot to, Rock Lee. I mean, that's exactly right. I love Rock Lee for all those reasons, and I feel very, very fortunate to play a character that represents all of that hard work, that perseverance, that determination, that persistence, and just that work ethic that is so vital to becoming your best you, regardless of the success or whatever that metric is for what you gauge success or your dream realized or whatever, but to become your best self, whatever that is, or the pursuit of your best self, right? Because we're constantly evolving, there's no ending to that journey, you're constantly evolving, right? But to be, your best self throughout that journey, or trying to be, Rock Lee he personifies that to a T. And I love him for that. And I think also the fans do too. I think that's why he resonates with so many people, is because, he didn't have the natural talents, he was the underdog. But he worked that much harder to be the best he could be, with the talents he had. He didn't have the other jutsus, but what he did have, he became the best he could at. And I think that's the key, because none of us are going to be awesome at everything. None of us are going to have all these talents. We all have our strengths and our weaknesses, and so you have to recognize what you do have, what you're good at, and then you work twice as hard as the next person if you want to be good at it or realize your dream. And Rock Lee's the best, man. And I think there are some similarities, and again, I do feel very fortunate to play someone that resonates so much with the fans. There is some synergy now between Brian Donovan and Rock Lee, and those philosophies in life. And again, that's why I love playing them so much. And that's why, I do cameos now. People order, me to do these cameos, which is like these video shout outs. And at first I was like, wow, that's so crazy that someone would even care, what Brian Donovan, has to say. But, but obviously they're not hiring me. They're hiring, me playing Rock Lee. But they're awesome because, they're like these 1 to 2 minute motivational speeches, and I'm using the Rock Lee philosophy of life, to encourage, or celebrate, these people in a way that Rock Lee would. And again, that synergy between what I would say and what Rock Lee would say is very similar. So they're awesome. They're really fun because I'm like, yeah, man, I'm going to lift you up, because I'm going to lift you up because Rock Lee lifted me up, and so, they're really fun. And he's a great character for that reason. He really is. He's a great example of working hard.
So if you go on YouTube, you'll notice like there's like compilation videos like of like Rock Lee, and I'm one of those guys who will go on YouTube when I'm working out, and then play it in the background.
Yeah, nice, man.
Like, if it isn't 100 push-ups, then it's 10,000 squats.
That's exactly right. And I think I mean, look, a lot of times we all want to do the bare minimums, I think it's human nature to be like, okay, I did enough. But, if you want to get better, then yeah, you got to do, you got to do those ones, you got to do the squats that hurt, not the ones that come easy. You got to do the push-ups that hurt,
Right.
not the first 10 that you can do easy. You got to do the extra 10, that hurt. And that is evolution, it can be, painstaking and bone crunching at times. But that's exactly right. He's super, super motivating that like that. And I love that the fans have, compiled those compilations and have made Rock Lee, represent Rock Lee that way. They're fun. They're super fun. I haven't seen a ton of them, but I've seen enough to know what's out there.
They're great. Like they're like Rock Lee's worth ethic, like especially in the show, I say it rivals like how Goku's worth ethic was in Dragon Ball Z. Like always working out, like just to get better. But it's like, but Rock Lee had no power, so that was like the.
Yeah, well, and again, I think that's why he's so relatable. It's like. It's like, these shows are so fun to watch for the fantasy, for the, but when you get a character like Rock Lee, who's more, quote unquote, typical and more humanistic, again, I think that's why the fans love him so much. Cause it's like, I'm Rock Lee, I could be Rock Lee, or,
right.
I've had adversity, or I've had these weaknesses, or I'm not naturally gifted or talented, or I don't have these superpowers, but what I got, as a human being, I'm going to, I'm going to make the best I can. And yeah, and I think that's, again, why he resonates so much with the fans, which is so super cool, to me. And certainly my interactions with the fans that I've met, and I also think on a little darker yet triumphant, storyline, I suppose, and again, talking to these fans, I have a lot of fans that come up to me that really struggled at some point in their lives. They were either bullied or, they went through a real dark depression, and they'll tell me that Rock Lee, got them through these really dark patches in their lives. And again, I think for that reason, he's someone that really struggled too, with who he was and what he didn't have, and being an easy target, for weakness. And yet he proved to everyone that he is strong and that you can persevere and you can get through this stuff. And you got to work hard, but it is possible. And I think that's such a beautiful element to his character, and certainly his storyline and his story arcs. So pretty cool.
Now, one of the most iconic episodes in Naruto, Rock Lee versus Gaara.
Yeah, man. Yeah, no, it was. And I think, I mean, it was, I think, when I was recording that, we all, because you usually watch the scene, or you watch your lines that you're about to record first, to see what the visual is, maybe hear the Japanese reference, in the audible. And so, she's like, oh my, the director, Mary Elizabeth, who's iconic, anime director, an amazing woman and human. But, she's like, oh my God, wait till you see what is happening today, in our recording. And she goes, blow you away. It's blowing us all away, And so she shows me, and he drops the weights. And I mean, it was just like, you knew, like, it was special. I mean, you just knew it was special. And so it was super exciting recording day. Actually, we recorded that over a couple of days, but the whole arc. But yeah, it was remarkable. And at that point, I think we all knew not only was Rock Lee's storyline like just catapulted, elevated to a whole nother level, but I think Naruto in general. I think at that point, the fans, when you get to episode 48 and 49, which is a distant memory for a lot of people that watched it long ago, with over 720 episodes now. But, I think that was the turning point for the show too. People were like, wow, this is legit. Like, whoa, like where is this going? And, like, just the stakes and the level. And then of course, obviously for Rock Lee's character too, but so cool and super fun and awesome to record. And then of course, we get some, he gets really, really hurt, and potentially, who knows what's going to happen to Rock Lee. And then that journey of him getting back, I think, again, goes back to what resonates so much with the fans of, like, because we've all been beaten up in life, either with health, mental health, physical health, just life. You don't even have to go through anything that profound, but life can beat you up. It can be disappointing. It can, there can be plenty of obstacles, and and to see Rock Lee, overcome all that stuff, these very real obstacles, is superb and fantastic, and I think super relatable to anybody that's been on this planet, for more than 8 or 9 years. You get to double digits, and there's a lot of stuff, especially the teen years, which obviously is a big percentage of the fan base and the audience. Those teen years can beat you up. They're,
oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, they're laced with insecurities, and laced with identity issues and crisis, and laced with just really kind of obsessing about your weaknesses and your shortcomings rather than your confidence in building yourself up.
Right.
I mean, unless you're the superstar on the football team, or you're, whatever, the most popular kid at school, 70% of high school and teen years are laced with all of these things, these insecurities and stuff. And so, yeah, I think Rock Lee again represents that too, like, you can do this, you will get past this, believe in yourself, don't give up, never give up.
Did you so when you read the script, right, did you ever were like, whoa, this is gonna happen? Like, oh man, this is gonna be hard for me, because, like, you have that connection with the character.
Yeah, I think sometimes like that obviously was one of those moments. And then the story arc after that of him, fighting to get healthy again and better, and to be the taijutsu master that he wants to be, and yeah, absolutely. And the other thing too is, because it lasted, I recorded the show over 13 years, a lot happens in your life personally. I lost my dad, my sister during that time. And so what I think, one of you as an actor, you get paid to show up, you get paid to, like, put all the weight, like, and when you work a desk job or you're working a counter, like, you can kind of, like, get through the day if you're going through an emotional time, because it's like, you just kind of home in on what you're doing, but as an actor, no matter what's going on in your personal life, you have got to show up. You've got to be Rock Lee when they push record.
Right.
Even if your sister just passed away, they give you, obviously,
the show must go. The show must
go on. So they give you some time to mourn, but yeah, if you're still swirling in that, you still got to show up. You still got to, they push record. You got to be Rock Lee, no matter what's happening with Rock Lee. If he's sad or happy or kicking ass or whatever, you got to be Rock Lee. And you're not, you got to put your sister, or your dad, or your relationship, or whatever's going on in your life, you got to put it, outside the studio, outside the booth. And so that's why you get paid as an actor. It's obvious, it's to create fantasy and act. But yeah, that is acting. It's like you put Brian Donovan outside the booth,
right,
and you're Rock Lee. And especially with a show, like that carried on for 13 years. Like, there is a lot going on in your personal life over that span. And so, yeah, you got to maintain the consistency of who Rock Lee is and what he's going through versus what you're going through. And sometimes that ties in, if Rock Lee's having a very emotional scene and I'm in a very emotional place as a person, as a Brian Donovan,
right,
then yeah, that can work really well. Where it's difficult is when you're really depressed or low and Rock Lee's not, or vice versa, then you gotta find that. But it can be challenging, but that's the work, and that's the art, and that's the, sometimes the fun of, like, okay. And also it gets you out of your own head sometimes. Like, a lot of actors, or if you ask people, like, oh, why do you love acting so much, or why do you love performance so much, it's like, sometimes that is the benefit, right? It allows you to check out of your own life and be something other than, and a lot of people will say that when they say, oh, why do you like performance? And there is real truth to that. It's like, it gives you opportunity to be other than yourself. And so that's pretty cool too.
Did you get to travel to Japan, like do any, like, appearances?
No,
Because I'm
it's
pretty
yeah,
sure you got a lot of fans over there. Definitely a lot of fans over there.
yeah, maybe. I don't even know. I mean, it's funny because I've never asked anyone, and I don't know if I know anyone that's been over to Japan. No, that's not true. I do know someone. But yeah, I'd be interested because I don't know if Japanese fans would watch the English dub. You know what I mean? They're watching the original Japanese. So I think unless they really were curious or they really wanted to practice their English, like I don't know. I don't know. But it's funny. My young son, who's 9, just turned 9. He just asked me about who drew Rock Lee originally and like who created Rock Lee and Naruto and I said, Kishimoto, and he said, "Oh, have you ever met him?" And I said, "No, I haven't. I don't even know how involved he is in the English version and the dub
Oh
version,
wow.
and who he knows over here and what voice actors, And but then my young son said something really sweet. He goes, "You should thank him for Rock Lee." And I was like, that's brilliant, because I'm always telling them to write thank you cards and notes and making sure people know how grateful you are for, the president or something, that they've done. And it was awesome because I felt like, that penetrated that flaw, that life philosophy penetrated. But it was just awesome to hear my 9-year-old tell me to thank someone for giving me such a gift in life. And he's absolutely right. It's never even crossed my mind, but I'm gonna write a letter to Kishimoto and thank him for Naruto and creating Naruto and creating Rock Lee and for giving me this wonderful gift in my life and my career. And but yeah, it's awesome. And I think yeah, you should let people know that have lifted you up in some way, shape, or form. Let them know. Even a teacher from, if you remember a teacher from grade school, like maybe take the time and scribble a note or an email or stop by school again and say, hey, thanks a lot. I never told you I was, either I was too young to like even think in those terms or that way, but you lifted me up. You made me think about something or encouraged me when I really needed it or whatever. And I think that's awesome. Awesome.
Now, how is it balancing being a father at home and then being like a voice actor at the same time? Because like,
Mhm.
so are you like now? Is it like a stay at home dad, or
Yeah,
what's that
well,
like?
yeah, no, I mean, I think it's like anyone. I mean, anybody that has kids, there is do you have kids?
Yeah, I got one kid, one son.
How old is he?
He's 2.
Oh, wow, dude, congratulations. Yeah,
Thank you.
you have just started the journey, man. Yeah, no, it's awesome, man. I mean, look, I mean, the answer is, I think anybody juggling kids, it puts an element, into your life that is just, it's full on, man. I mean, yeah, your balls, balls are always in the air as a juggler, you just like, oh my God, and half the time they're like falling over and you're chasing, if you use the analogy of the juggler, it's just like half the time you're chasing balls on the ground, trying to get them back in the air. And any parent I think can relate to that, regardless of what stage they're at in their parenthood, whether they're 2 years old or 9 years old or and everybody's doing the same thing. I mean, I'm no different. Yeah, I mean it's a juggle and I do a lot of different things. I'm a voice actor. I'm an actor. I have a nonprofit for inner city high school kids.
Oh, nice.
Now I do like these appearances, at these cons, which I just started doing. Also, I'm on the speaking circuit and as a disability advocate. So I mean, I got a lot going on. I'd say the most challenging it is travel. I mean, as much as I love travel and as much as I love making appearances and or doing my speaking gigs, it's I'm away from my kids, and my wife, and so that's probably the hardest, just being away from home and being away from them. I find that really difficult. Like I think if I was in my my late 20s or early 20s and people were asking me to travel all over the world, like now it'd be a freaking dream, like it'd be like awesome, let's do this. But no, I mean, so it's a little hard in that way, just juggling, travel and the kids and being home,
Did you have like when you were in voice acting, did you already have kids or were you
No. I came to fatherhood super late. I mean, I've been in the game professionally for 31 years. I moved here in 1990 to LA. I was 23 years old. So if you're doing the math in your head, I was born in the 60s.
My dad's age.
Yeah, man. Yeah, dude. I could be your daddy. Yeah, man. I'm old. So I came to fatherhood really late. I mean, I didn't have my first kid until I was 46, and so yeah. I mean, it was very different. I was a 23-year-old with a dream, and I tell kids that all the time. Like, when they talk to me about their dream, or I have this or that dream, I was like, look, I was just like you, man. I was a kid from Buffalo, New York. I went to school just like you. I had these dreams just like you. I didn't know anybody in Hollywood. I didn't have connections. I was just a kid with a dream. And I wasn't even that clear about my dream then. I just knew that, someday I wanted to go to Hollywood and get in entertainment and hopefully be an actor, yeah. So, I try to remind people that, it's like, I was just like you. I mean, there's no secret sauce. There's no, you just do the work. You just try to do something every day towards your craft. And then you just do the work. And so I do try to remind people that, because I think, I look, and I know a lot of famous people too. I know a lot more famous people, and I'm not even famous. I think I'm well known on the anime world, and I guess I'm kind of famous at
that's still big famous though,
but there's degrees of famous, on the sliding scale. I am at the bottom, comparatively, but I know very famous people, and I think with fame, people think there's some secret sauce, like there's some, they were christened, or blessed with, like, fame was in their future, their DNA, and it's not that. They most of them worked hard, and most of them were a little bit of lucky. I mean, there is the luck factor for sure. I mean, but there's no reason it can't happen to you or them or anyone. The odds are long, of course, but all the big stuff they are. I wanted to be a football player when I was a little kid, but I'm 5'8", and I'm kind of
the Jets.
The Bills, baby.
The Bills.
Yeah, but that wasn't going to happen for me. I was never built to play football professionally, and so you change your dream depending on the reality of life and your situation and opportunity. But there are other things you can do, and so you keep your fingers crossed, you do the work, and you just keep going, and like Rock Lee says, you never give up. You never give up, but or you do give up when the time is right. I mean, not like any relationship. There can be some toxic relationships that you need to get out of, right? You need to go, okay, well, this isn't worth pursuing anymore, because it's creating more negativity in my life versus positivity, and dreams are hard. There's no question. Relationships are hard, as we know. But you keep going if it's worth fighting for, and fighting through. But some you got to give up, like relationships. You got to go, okay, this one didn't work, or this isn't for me, or I was never supposed to be that guy. And you see that too. Like, if you've ever been to an acting class, or a stand-up class, you see in the room who has a base of natural talent, you know what I mean? Like some sort of like, and there's no, you can still work through some of those things. You can still become amazing, but you also know pretty obviously, like, who's probably never going to make it. You know what I mean? Like, it's a cool dream, but maybe you should probably do something else, and,
right.
and I think that's the reality, right? You got to look in the mirror sometimes and go, okay, it's great to have this dream, but this isn't me, like there's, but you got to be careful too, right? Because I mean, if my first voiceover class was with some of, if I was one of 6 people and the other 5 were these titans that I referred to earlier, then I would have been intimidated. I would have been like, oh my God, I don't have a shot in hell. Like, what am I doing here? Like, what am I doing? But there's also some beauty to ignorance, and not knowing and not having that negativity, or, not being surrounded by the best of the best too early on. Because then, you do kind of, you kind of forge ahead with that Rock Lee attitude of like, I can be that, don't
right.
you and I might not be the best, but I can become this. And so, yeah, it's just finding that line, constantly finding that line and not being too in your head and not giving up too early, and fighting for it and never giving up. But just, trying to move the pieces around until, you have a semblance of a life that you like getting out of bed for, that's it. It's like, okay, do I want to get out of bed today? And what's gonna help me get out of bed today? What's gonna be my purpose and passion that day? Because that's what we're all looking for, right? And it's not always that. None of us always jump out of bed, it's never that. Even if you're pursuing your dream, it's not like, there's some days of drudgery, but if you're living a life that's somewhat in tune or aligned with your purpose and passion, your dream, your goal, that will help you get out of bed. There's no question, even on the tough days, there's another great book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving Up, blank.
Yeah. I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's a great book. And and he says, if you have a dream, the best way to realize whether or not you should pursue it or not is you think about the worst part of that dream. Like, what's the worst of it? Like, is it the paperwork? Is it getting out of bed at 6 a.m.? Whatever it is. And if you look at the worst of that pursuit and you still have to do the dream, then that's your answer. But if you look at the worst of it and go, that's not me, really. At the end of the day, that's not me. Like, my wife is a writer. She teaches a writing class. Not everybody, but a lot of people have this dream of writing a book in their life, got to write the novel. I've always wanted to write a book. And they get to my wife's class, and then they realize how effing hard it is. And, very few of them pursue it. Like, and I'll give you a better example that's more relatable to us now. Mm-hmm. I've probably had over 500 people ask me how to get into the voiceover world. I mean, very, very passionately, like, this is my dream. People tell me I have these great voices, and, how do I get in? How do I do it? And I have said, in my 30 years, get a demo reel, do a demo of 6 to 8 voices. Or if you're doing narrator radio, then you just do 6 or 7, 8 radio commercials. You make them up, toss some music in there, you record them, or you pay someone to do it for you. You do it. And I promise you, if I believe in your demo reel, I will hand it off to my agent, because someone lifted me up. Someone gave me that opportunity when I was younger. I will do the same thing for you. I don't even know you, but if I hear your demo tape and it's awesome and worthy, I will hand it off to my agent and give you the shot for the dream. How many people do you think handed me a demo tape of those 500?
How many people handed you?
Yeah, how many people actually did what I asked them to do to give them the shot for that door being open? How many of the 500 do you think actually did the demo tape and gave it to me so I could give to my agent to give them the shot?
I would say everyone, right? Or no?
3, dude. 3.
Wow.
3. So my point is, if you have a dream, do the work. Do the work. And when someone opens a door for you, you actually do the work to get through that door. And that's my point. Like, most people, like my wife's novel writing class, most people they never finish their book. They never handed me the demo tape. So it's one thing to have the dream, but if you're not willing to do the work for the dream, then it's not your dream. Then change your dream. Like, figure something else out, and do the work.
Lucky you didn't tell me that. I would have did 100 voices. I would have been like, hello, this is Kermit the Frog here.
Oh, look at you go.
See?
Yeah, man, exactly. Well, awesome, man. And I hope you toss those in your stand-up, because that's what separates you, right? That's what Jim Carrey did.
Yeah.
You work with what you got and the talents you have. But yeah, man, at the end of the day, if you got a dream, there's a lot of work to dreams, and I think a lot of people ultimately don't want to do the work. They think they do, but when you give them the opportunity.
I think that's the problem with Instagram these days, especially kids that are in my generation. They want to see, like, everybody shows the end result of success. Nobody sees the what goes into success. Like we won't see like, you won't see me struggling, but you'll see me in like a jet or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Everybody wants to get to that first, but don't realize you have to drive the Toyota Corolla before you get the Tesla. You know what I'm saying?
No, that's exactly right, man. I mean, look, I didn't have my first car until I was 30, dude. I mean, I came here with 2 bags of clothes, a music box, and a bicycle. I delivered a car out to California from Buffalo, New York. There was this company called Auto Drive Away. You put a $200 deposit down, you had to pay for gas, and you delivered the car. You had like X amount of days. They gave me 12 days to drive across the country to deliver the car from Buffalo to LA for this nurse who had gotten the job, didn't have time to drive it herself, but she wanted a car. And so I drove it, and but I had a bicycle, 2 bags of clothes, and a music box, and I rode my bicycle around for 2 years, you know. And then I got a motorcycle, but I didn't have my first car until I was 30. And so yeah, you to your point, you before the jets and all the bling, you know, it's yeah, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, you know. And but if you're pursuing your dream, then you don't mind it. You know, it's the classic. You know, the journey is climbing the mountain. It's not at the top. You know, it's a nice view from the top, but that's not the thing you'll remember. That's not the. It's going to be the. It's all the hard. It's all the Rock Lee stuff. It's the hard work. It's the 2,000 push-ups. You know, it's the training. It's like, it's getting in there. I mean, that's the nectar, man. And the rest is just fluff. But yeah, they don't show that on social media. I mean, there are more and more. Like, I think there is more transparency to social media now, because I think people are kind of getting off on, you know, this is what I look like without makeup, you know, like look at my struggle. You know, but yeah, I mean, there's I mean, my wife was just laughing, you know, she's reading something in Vogue, you know, she gets some of those glam magazines, and there was a Dakota Johnson had a profile piece, but it was all fluff. It was all, my life is amazing, my life is great, and I'm at the apex of my career. And it's a fluff piece. It's not her fault. You know, that's just what the interviewer was, you know, throwing at her. But you know, like, yeah, man, life is not that. We all know that. I mean, shit, if you've lived, you know, again, if you've lived over, you know, 8-10 years, you know, it's like, you know, there's a lot of stuff you got to get through in life, a lot of mountains you got to climb. But you know, again, that's the reward ultimately. You know, if you look at it as a journey, like we should, you know, and the things that are right in front of us. You know, there was a great, I forget who it was, but there was a famous football player who was just saying, God, who was that? But young guy still. He was probably in his late 20s, but you know, he was just saying how, you know, everybody looks at the money I've had and the success I've had. And I did too. Like, I was just looking at, you know, bigger paycheck, you know, what car can I buy with that? And he goes, but at the end of the day, what I found is, you know, those years ticked on, and, you know, 6-7 years deep into massive fame and massive money, he's like, I was kind of empty. Like, I felt like I was on a rat wheel. I was trying to, what's next? What's better? How more successful can I be? How much more money? And he goes, and then I was just empty. And then I realized that all the good stuff was already right in front of me, you know, without being famous, without being rich, was my family, you know, my friends, you know, all the authenticity of life that has to offer. Now, mind you, if you're, you know, if you're struggling and you don't have any money, you know, all that looks good, you know, I mean, of course it does, you know. But yeah, at the end of the day, you know, it's the things right in front of us, you know, it's the connections, it's the people, you know, and all that other stuff. You know, sure, it's nice to have some money or not to have to worry about money and stuff, but, you know, but you'll find too, with rich, famous people, they worry about money too, because they calibrate their life, right, you know, to a point where now they're worried about money, even though they're making you know, tens of millions of dollars, but their house, you know, they still got bills to pay, they still got staff to pay, you know, they create this crap too, where they start to worry about money, you know. Well, they create that, right? They shouldn't, but you know, almost all of them do it. You know, they create a much richer life for themselves, and then they worry about money too. So it's like, it's all a swirl, man. It never goes away, that stuff. You know?
Time's worth more than money. That's what I always say.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Time and connections with real people. You know,
real people.
Real people and real time. Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna have to wrap it up. But you got any? You want to last lob at me, or you got anything else you want to close with?
Yes, I got two things.
Yeah.
How are your relationships with the other voice actors, the whole team? Because I didn't know that. Like when I was doing my research, I didn't even know the voice of Naruto is a female.
Yeah, Miley. Miley and I. Well, it's funny, man. Most people don't also realize that we record alone. So I have never, if you can believe this, and most people can, I have never personally met Guy Sensei, the voice actor that does Guy Sensei.
Wow.
Yeah. And I didn't even meet Miley Naruto for the first 4 years. So it's crazy. Like a lot of us don't know each other. A lot of us don't socialize together. Miley and I just started doing cons together, which has been a blast. And she's super cool and super great to her fans. But yeah, a lot of them I don't even know. And none of them none of them are my close friends, because I just don't know them that well. They're all good people. I just did a con with Tom Gibbs, Kyle Herbert, Michael Yurchak, Miley, who else was there? Sasuke was there. Sakura was there. And they're all friends, and I've known a few of them for many years. Like I've known Michael and Sakura for many, many years. Sakura probably the most. I've known her for over, Kate Higgins, I've known her for over 20 years. But some of us don't even know each other. It's crazy.
Did you ever meet Itachi?
Itachi, only twice.
Twice.
Yeah. It's crazy, right? I mean,
was he cold?
He was cool to me. Yeah, I don't know. He was cool to me. I can't speak for other. It's funny because some people, have horrible reputations of being a jerk. And and I try to judge people just on how my interaction was with them, because I don't know their world. I don't know situation other than, because I've worked with a lot of people that have horrible reputations that were really nice to me. And so I'll be like, well, I've heard that too, but they were really nice to me. So I don't know. And then I've worked with some people that were really, not really nice to me, and yet some people love them. So you don't know, who knows. But yeah, Hitachi was nice to me. Yeah.
Well, I know you gotta go, Brian. I want to appreciate you for your work, everything. Rock Lee, it's been a very big inspiration to me, and like this is what I want to show on my show, to show that the behind the voice, who are the people. You guys are everything to us. Like you keep us going. Like I literally watch the show, even Shippuden, like religiously. I'll go back to like all the old episodes and just sit there, have my ice cream and just watch it. You know what I mean? Be a couch potato,
Yeah. That's okay. Hey, look, we all need to be couch potato every once in a while. That is not, I don't want to paint the couch potato as a bad name. We all need a little downtime. We need a chance to fuel our fire and recharge for sure. So there's perfectly good times to lay on the couch. But yeah, man, and honestly, without some of the couch potatoes, the show would not have been as successful as it
right?
is.
See, you would have been out of a job.
We need you, man. Everybody has their place. Everybody has their place. But yeah, you also have to get off the couch every once in a while and do the work. But yeah, man, I can't thank you enough and the fans enough. I mean, honestly, I've been really fortunate the last year. Well, pre-COVID, I just had started doing cons, and then we're starting to do them again. And I've met a lot of fans, and they're the cream of the crop, man. It's been amazing having those exchanges, and amazing, just hearing their stories and what the show or Rock Lee means to them. And yeah, it's been a real gift, and I'm very, very fortunate, very appreciative.
Rock Lee helped me get my girl back.
Oh yeah, nice. Oh, dude, that's awesome. Dude, we should have started the show there, man. That's
see the least handsome devil.
The handsome devil, the Hidden Leaf Village, baby.
I appreciate your time, Brian. You want to tell the people who are going to watch this where you're going to be at? Any you doing autographs upcoming?
Yeah, I do have a couple coming up. I'll be in Albuquerque in January, I think 14th to the 16th. And then I'm going to do WeebCon outside of Dallas the first weekend of February. And then I think, there's a couple more lining up. And as the year progresses, depending on the pandemic, hopefully we'll just, we'll keep rolling them out. I hope to be back east. I'm not really sure. I haven't done a con in your neck of the woods yet.
Yo,
So
you got
yeah, I know. I'm kind of lobbying for that too because my brother's in DC. I got dear good friends in New York City. I got my family and some family and friends in Buffalo still, in Cleveland. So I'm trying to get into that neck of the woods.
I don't know if you ever heard of Mohegan Sun or Foxwoods or whatever. I think they do a Comic-Con over there in Connecticut.
Oh yeah. Well, look, I'm gonna lobby my agent to try to get me, in your neck of the woods. But if I do that, I'll keep you posted, and hopefully I'll see you and some of yours and meet your son. Someday.
I know, man, because I need that Rock Lee poster autograph. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, baby. Yeah. Well, I'll keep you posted. I mean, I am lobbying them hard to like get to the Northeast. So I'm hoping that happens sometime soon, and hopefully in 2022. But again, the world we live in is so crazy right now. I mean, who knows?
Yeah, DJ gigs are slow for me, so
Yeah, dude, it's a tough time, man. I mean, it's no joke. It's been hard on everyone. I mean, when the pandemic first started, I had 24 appearances, either as a speaker, a motivational speaker, or the cons lined up because we were just going to do a Digimon season 2, 20-year reunion.
Oh, word.
Me and Vmon, we're going to do like all these cons, and they all went away, man. I mean, it was crazy. So it's been a tough year for everybody, tough year and a half. But again, I think that's why we love Rock Lee, man. You persevere, you persist, and we will all get through this. There will be better days ahead and more lucrative days ahead. But yeah, we just keep doing it, doing what we're doing, and get off the couch every once in a while and do the work. And then also watch Rock Lee and Naruto when you can.
So before you leave, so I got three cousins. They was like, hey, can you get them to say hi to us? Like, and these guys, like, they kick my butt in the Naruto the game Shinobi Strikers every time. So it was like, can you get them to say hi? Their names are Riley, Trey, and Ace. That's all they wanted. It was like, can you get them to do the voice and say hi? I'm like,
Riley, Trey, and what's the last one?
So Riley, Trey, and Ace.
And Ace. Oh, I can do that. Riley, Trey, and Ace. Yeah, sure. Hold on. Riley, Trey, and Ace. Riley, Trey, and Ace. It's the handsome devil of the Hidden Leaf Village. Rock Lee. I work hard and I never give up. That is my gift. That is our ninja way. Leaf Hurricane.
Yo, that was great. That was dope, man.
All right, dude. Well, it's so nice to meet you. Happy holidays to you, your family, your cousins, and thanks again for having me. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, because it was hard getting you. I was like, man, it's like trying to get to Obama.
I kept having to push you. My wife was just telling me, she's like, you need to take a break. This fall has been insane, dude, for a million reasons. But we finally figured it out. We got a time and a date. We locked it up, and I appreciate your patience. I really do. But I'll see you in 2022.
And let me know if you got any shows, upcoming like events, and send it to me so I can post it on my page, post it on the story. And that goes for any of like your the people, your actors or whatever you work with, because we want to show everybody, let everybody know, especially in this area, what's going on in that world.
Yeah, nice, man. Awesome. Yeah, I will. I'll pass it on too. But yeah, all my best to you, man. Happy holidays. And I
you too. Happy holidays. Thank you, Brian.
Yeah. All right. Good to meet you, buddy. See you, man.